minutes as tabled.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Any old business?
No, sir.
Yes, new business. Come on up.
Sure. So my name is Corey McMillan. This is my wife, Sarah McMillan, and we bought our property at 36 Woodland Road about a year and a half ago, February 2017. When we bought the property, there was an existing fence along the border of the property that was about 10 feet high. It was dilapidated, rough boards that were mostly tied to trees and didn't even have posts. During one of the winter storms this winter, so a year later, a tree fell across the road and took out a big chunk of the fence. So we wanted to replace the fence to improve both its functionality and the sort of aesthetic appeal. We apologize that when we started it, we thought that because we were replacing the existing fence that we didn't need a permit and we should have just asked, and that was definitely our mistake. But we've since been working with, I talked to Eric a couple times, and he expressed his biggest concern was the plows coming through and the fence being close to the roads. And I totally appreciate that issue. And Dennis, who's our neighbor 2 doors up, has expressed that he also would like the fence set back from the road so that it's safe for people to walk on the road with his children. And we also appreciate that concern as well. In speaking with folks, I think a plan that we've discussed that would be, accommodate the safety needs and our needs for privacy would be to, move the fence back, make sure the fence is in our property line. We had a surveyor come. The house was surveyed when we bought the property, but the lines weren't marked. And on the original survey, so the first survey page in the packet I gave you, so page 3, you can see there's a dotted line with the X's where the original fence did actually cross the property line a little bit. And that was when Adrian Dunlop, the previous owner, built the fence 40 years ago or something. So what the surveyor did on the next page is he went through with Mr. McGowan and marked how far back each post would have to move and made this table in the upper right corner. So the posts will be removed from the ground and then moved back a minimum. So again, this is a minimum distance depending on the tree lines. So now the fence will go between a tree line. So depending on that tree line, we may even move back farther. But this would be the minimum that we would move back each post, which ranges about 2.5 to 4.5 feet. So that was one issue, was the distance from the road that we wanted to move back. And then maybe if you have questions, we can talk about that. And then another issue was trying to determine the height. I'm just not clear where you measure the height from, because actually I drew on the next page. This is my non-engineering illustration. The property where the fences will move back, there's a really variable grade along that distance. So setting the distance from the grade and the ground seems like it would be, the fence is going to be variable heights. So my suggestion was to, come to an agreement of the height of the fence based on the sort of sight line of the road. I don't know if that's something that you entertain, or if you always measure from the grade for just determining, how it will.
The physical fence itself, what's the
Well, the front yard, the fences are restricted to 4 feet in height. But as you can see on this his drawing here, he has a 4-foot fence, the road is up here, it's not gonna offer any protection from sound or dust or anything, so
Right.
the original fence was, I think, 10 feet high, and it was actually on town property in some places. So the further he moves the fence from the road, the lower it gets. So he's looking for, a variance from that restriction of 4 feet. And I think 8 feet would be reasonable.
So that would give a 4 feet protection to the top of the grade. That would rise 4 feet above the top of the grade.
It would be probably approximately, it's hard to say because it changes. But, for him to put up a 4-foot fence on the front line is kind of ridiculous.
Because it's down in
The house is down and it's very close to the
So
road.
it's gonna be the same height as the old fence, but it's gotta be high, he's taking it back
It's going to be moved
It'll
back.
have-
to
Yeah.
conform it with the highway department.
Yeah,
And the safety.
Yeah.
So this is an
That makes sense.
existing fence that you built, that, is this the source of the letters that we're praising the design aesthetic? You
So,
gonna rebuild the fence, or?
right, so so when we didn't understand the permit issues, our contractor took out the existing fence, the old fence, and started building the new fence. So he's put in all of the posts that are too close to the road, and had about 100 feet of the 160-foot fence completed. He's since removed all of the boards. He was able to cut them so that now the posts will just be 4 inches closer together, so that we could salvage all of that wood. But he'll cut the posts. We have to purchase new posts, but he'll cut the posts, and then we'll put new posts in.
It would be the same design as the one you just did?
Right. Which is a very simple, design of like staggered wood on each side. I don't know what that's called, but it's a very straightforward design.
So it's only the height variance? Was there
Yeah,
a variance
yeah,
involved to the
I
distance?
spoke with Eric and he said he didn't care, where the fence went as long as it was on his property. So those distances that you see on that map, that's the minimum.
Okay. That doesn't really require a variance then, if that's the new position of the fence, right?
Well, he needs a variance for the height of the fence.
It's the height, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We do all the time. But we need a public hearing, right? Do we call a public hearing?
Because of the variance, yeah. I don't see any problems with
Can make a motion to schedule a public hearing.
Does that require a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion, I second.
You second?
I second.
Okay. Board Member Lodi?
Yes.
Board Member Huglemetti?
Yes.
Chair Jonathan?
This is a requirement. We have to hold a public hearing. It's announced to the public in the newspaper, so if anybody wants to show up to object, we have to entertain those objections.
Yeah, this is to legitimize the permit.
Right.
If we don't do this and someone complains, it's,
Right. No, I understand that, and then it gives opportunity for people like Dennis to voice, their opinions.
Okay, so the public hearing next month from now.
Okay.
October
I
17th.
came tonight because I thought there was going to be some input tonight, but I'm fine with whenever there's a hearing, if I have anything to say. I'm not against it, we just want to make sure there's no safety concerns. Because our daughter rides the school bus, goes right through there every day.
So you're happy with the new plans, new position?
I just saw them, so it's too soon for me to say everything, but
Yeah, next
what
month.
I've seen, what Corey showed me, looks good compared to what it was.
And you're welcome to come over, and we can walk the line where the fence is.
Okay.
So, I'd be happy to do that.
Because my other concern was the other side of the road, but I don't know if that concerns us at all. The other side of the road has a ditch and a large stone wall. And I was just concerned about the width of the road itself. Is it wide enough to accommodate traffic?
Oh, it did before. I mean, there was, I know where it is. The fence was always an issue to some extent. And actually, I think part of that fence was up before it was a subdivision.
And this is a town road, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Deeded road.
So I'm assuming that it's good for right, but I don't know. Well, yeah, because if he's moving it back on the property line, it should actually be more room than it was before.
Yeah, there'll be substantially more room than before. In some places it'll be even, you know, like up to almost 6 feet away from the road. And again, and even the tree line, we kind of, me and the contractor just held string one day to try to see if we could find straight lines away from the road to not have to take out, you know, too many trees. We'll have to take out a couple saplings and things, but I think we can manage without, you know, removal of big trees. Because, you know, it's ideal not to do that.
I don't see any problem with it, but we can't find a variance until we have a public hearing.
Okay,
So that'll be October 17th,
okay,
here at 7:30.
okay. Great. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you. Thanks for your input.
Thank you. Yeah, we're around, through to Saturday.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Let's see this somewhere else.
What's that? Yeah, I mean, all of you guys have already done your credits, it was just easier
Yeah,
just to.
and I got it, we want everyone to.
I hated the old fence.
Right.
Planning seminar,
Right.
I think it's
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks for coming out.
So we had a second for adjournment.
I'm sorry. Yes, Gary? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll be elected.